Imagine driving along a busy road, minding your own business, when you are suddenly stopped and searched, and authorities discover you are carrying enough firepower to arm a small militia. That is exactly the scene that played out recently in Kaduna State. And the story that has emerged from it is one that should make every single one of us sit up and pay attention. If you are watching this, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring these important stories to you. This is not just a story about arrests, it is a story about the shadowy war being waged on our highways and the quiet heroes walking around the clock to keep us safe. Let me take you through it step by step. Now, picture this. It is a regular day on the Nnamdi Azikiwe Way bypass in a Gabi local government area. This is a major route bustling with activity: commercial vehicles, private cars, okadas, traders heading to the market, and students returning from school. Nobody suspects that among this flow of humanity, a single man is carrying a cargo of death. But the operatives of the Department of State Services, DSS, were watching. They had the intelligence and they were waiting. At the right moment, they moved in. When they stopped this 30-year-old man and searched him, what they found was enough to send chills down anyone's spine. This young man was not carrying just a simple pistol for self-defense. He was in possession of 2 AK-47 rifles. That alone is bad enough. But then they found it, a PKT machine gun. This is not a weapon you use for petty crime. This is a light machine gun, designed to lay down sustained heavy fire. It is a weapon of war, the kind used in military engagements. Alongside these, he had over 200 rounds of live ammunition and 4 empty magazines just waiting to be filled. Think about that for a moment. 2 AK-47s and a PKT machine gun. How many lives would have been lost if that consignment had reached its destination? How many communities would be in mourning today?
Now, this is the point where we need to stop and reflect. I want to ask you, where do you think these weapons were going? Who is the end user of a PKT machine gun in northwest Nigeria? Just when you think the story is over, it gets deeper. At almost the same time, another team of DSS operatives was executing a separate but coordinated operation. Their location was Doka village in the Kachia area, right along the ever-busy Abuja-Kaduna Expressway. Here, 2 other suspects were taken into custody. Their alleged crime? The illegal possession of 3 additional AK-47 rifles. 3 more. So within a short space of time and in 2 separate locations, the DSS had managed to intercept a total of 5 AK-47 rifles, 1 PKT machine gun, and over 200 rounds of ammunition. Let us look at the math here. 5 AK-47s. These are the preferred weapons for bandits who attack villages, kidnap our citizens, and terrorize rural communities. In the wrong hands, each of these rifles can be used to silence a family, to rob a community of its fathers and sons, and to instill fear that paralyzes economic life. We are talking about a massive victory for the security agencies. Now, let us talk about the atmosphere at the briefing. The Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs in Kaduna State, Mr. Sule Shuaibu, stood before the press, and his first words were telling. He didn't start by listing the statistics of the arrests. He started by giving glory to God. That is the human side of this story, the palpable relief that these tools of destruction are off the streets. But Mr. Shuaibu did more than just express relief. He took a moment to paint the wider picture for us. He acknowledged the efforts of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces for the overarching security architecture being put in place across Nigeria. And this is where it gets interesting.
The commissioner specifically highlighted the non-kinetic approach being championed by the state government under Governor Uba Sani. Now, for those who might not be familiar with the term, let me break it down. The non-kinetic approach is not about guns and bullets. It is about dialogue, about community engagement, about addressing the root causes that push young men into the arms of bandits. Things like poverty, unemployment, and neglect. It is about offering a hand of fellowship to those who are willing to lay down their arms and embrace peace. The government is essentially saying, we are ready to talk, we are ready to rehabilitate, but if you choose the path of violence, we are ready for you. And these arrests are proof that the kinetic or forceful side of that strategy is working perfectly in tandem with the peace efforts. The commissioner had a clear message for the criminals still out there. He called them bad eggs and told them in plain terms that they are wasting their time. He wants them to know that the security forces are on the ground, that the intelligence network is active, and that there is nowhere left to hide. He also took the time to appreciate Governor Uba Sani for fostering this collaboration between the state and all the security agencies. The goal is simple but ambitious: to make Kaduna State a peaceful place for everyone who resides within it. Another angle to this issue is the gratitude we must feel for the men and women of the DSS who are doing the dangerous, thankless work. These are the people on the front lines, the ones staking out the bypasses and the villages, the ones acting on the tips that come in from the public. Their work is far from over. The DSS has stated clearly that investigations are still ongoing. They are not just locking up these suspects and closing the file. They will be following the trail, asking the tough questions. Who sent these weapons? Where did they come from? Were they from a neighboring state? Did they cross the border? Who was supposed to receive them in the forest? Appropriate legal procedures will be followed, and hopefully the full weight of the law will come down on these traffickers.
But here's where the story becomes more interesting. To truly understand what happened in Kaduna, we have to look at the map of Nigeria. This isn't an isolated incident. We have seen recent reports from the DSS uncovering major arms supply routes across the north central and northwest regions. In fact, just recently, DSS operatives in Niger State rescued kidnapped victims and arrested suspects moving ammunition through motor parks, places like Tejina Motor Park, using rural routes to avoid checkpoints. They hide these deadly weapons in sacks of millet, disguising them as farm produce like tantalite, a precious stone, to fool security forces. We are seeing a pattern. Nasarawa State has been described by some analysts as a quiet hub for gun running, where syndicates manufacture, store, and distribute arms to bandits in the northwest. Kaduna, sitting right in the middle, becomes a critical transit point. This is a pipeline of death, and the recent arrests in Kaduna represent a major breach in that pipeline. From this point, we need to understand the sheer scale of the problem. Security experts estimate that hundreds of thousands of illegal weapons are circulating in Nigeria. Many of these, believe it or not, originate from the fallout of the Libyan crisis, flowing across the Sahel and into our porous borders. When you combine this influx of weapons with factors like poverty and the absence of social infrastructure in rural areas, you have a recipe for the kind of persistent insecurity we are seeing in the northwest. Let's pause and think about the human side of this victory. For every weapon recovered, there is a village somewhere that might sleep a little safer tonight. For every 200 rounds of ammunition seized, there is a family that might not have to bury a loved one. The relief is not just for the government, it is for the market woman in Igabi, the farmer in Kachia, the student traveling the Kaduna Abuja. The community reaction, though often silent, is one of immense gratitude. People are tired of the sound of gunshots, they are tired of kidnappings, they are tired of fear.
However, the commissioner's message also serves as a riot act. It is a reminder that while the non-kinetic approach is plausible and commendable, the government will not tolerate criminality. The security men are on the ground, and they are proving that they can and will act decisively. Now, here is a critical question for you. What is the one thing you can do today to help? The government can't be everywhere at once. They rely on information. If you see something unusual, a strange package, unfamiliar faces lurking around your community, or vehicles acting suspiciously, do you know who to call? As we wrap up this story, we must look at the bigger lesson. This incident on the Nnamdi Azikiwe Way bypass and in Doka village is a testament to what is possible when intelligence meets action. It shows that the criminals are not invincible. They are not ghosts. They can be caught. They can be stopped. But it requires all of us to play our part. The government is doing its bit. The DSS is doing its bit. Now, we as citizens must do ours. We must cooperate with the security agencies. We must report suspicious activities. We must look out for our neighbors. Security is not just the job of the police or the DSS. It is a collective responsibility. If we all become the eyes and ears of our communities, we will starve these bad eggs of the oxygen of anonymity they need to operate. Before you go, please remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more updates and stay safe. Let's work together to ensure that Kaduna, and indeed all of Nigeria, becomes the peaceful place we all dream of.